Morning. This is Good Morning NFC East. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II, filling in for Jeff Kerr, who will be back on Monday. I know I told you guys he'll be back today, but guess what? You had me. You have a little extra. You know, I'm serving you up just a little bit extra. I'm making sure your bellies are full on your trip over the weekend. So I want to make sure you guys have a good time this week. We're going to continue to have fun. We're going to continue to talk about your Philadelphia Eagles, the off season, and we're going to still recover from what we experienced on Sunday. At some point, we all have to move on, accept the fate, accept the reality. It happened. So nothing more to really dissect about it, except the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles, there's no doubt that they found their franchise quarterback. No doubt. And, you know, I told you guys yesterday we're going to get into the contract discussions and talk essentially about how much Jalen potentially could get paid, the potential impact it may have on the roster, how we think the negotiations should probably go, what's Howie probably thinking, what's Jalen and his team probably thinking, right? Because if I'm Jalen and his team, I'm looking at the road traveled, I'm looking at the distance traveled, I'm looking at the steady growth at the position that Jalen Hurts has displayed. I'm showing the results at the end of the day. Now, granted, they lost the game, and they were pretty damn close to winning it. But Jalen Hurts showed that he has the capability, the will, the desire, the savviness to make it to a Super Bowl and play well enough to win it. Not many people can say that. Some people go to the Super Bowl and wet the bed in the biggest of moments, in the most crucial of moments. Jalen Hurts made one mistake in that game, and it came in the second quarter, and it was a fumble that led to direct points for the opposing team. But he recovered from that, in my humble opinion. I think he recovered from that. Some people feel differently. Some people feel that was fatal because of the team you're going against. Me, it was fatal. It was fatal, but he resuscitated the offense going into halftime up 24-14. He put the defibrillator on and resurrected him back to life. So it almost proved to be terminal, but I don't think it was as fatal as some may think it to be. Nonetheless, his team, his legal team, Nicole, Lynn, Clutch, and that entire staff, his entire team, best believe they're going to come to get everything Jalen Hurts should get. And it's important to me, at least, that you don't want to go into this upcoming season with Jalen Hurts' contract hanging over your head. You want that to get done. You want that to get sorted out. You don't want to leave any stone unturned in a situation like that, because we all see how it turned out with Dak Prescott's contract negotiations. If Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys would have paid Dak Prescott sooner, they would have been paying him significantly less even now. But because they waited, and I think they also franchise tagged him as well, because they waited, they had to pay him more than he probably deserved. But that's the name of the game. That's how this thing goes. How much did the last guy get paid? Okay, my floor starts there. And it obviously depends on how productive you are in your organization. And some people get so wrapped up in the fact that, well, he's not better than this person. How is he getting paid more? That's not how this thing goes. I understand people get emotional about this, and I don't understand how people get so emotional about other people's money. That's just me. But, the reality is, it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters how good you are to your respective organization, how vital, how important you are to your organization. And when it comes to the quarterback position, when you feel like you have one, you should probably pay him. Unfortunately, the reality is, when you feel like you have a guy, when you believe he's shown you just enough that, okay, we should probably commit to this guy, you have to do it. Because if you don't and you wait, you might end up having to pay him more than what he actually is required. And on top of that, let's say you do wait to pay Jalen Hurts. Let's say you are skeptical. Where are you going to go from here? Are you going to start over and draft someone in this upcoming draft? Are you going to start over and try to develop a guy? Who has time for that? Also, this is where the intangibles come in. And a lot of people hate talking about intangibles because they can't measure it, because it doesn't equal one. It doesn't equal two. 1 + 1 = 2. It doesn't compute that easily for some people. Some people don't like talking about intangibles because of those reasons. But if you decide, again, hypothetically speaking, if you decide to BS with Jalen Hurts' contract, if you decide to BS, you're going to end up probably paying him more. He's probably going to try to strangle you at that point. And where are you going to go? Who are you going to get the money to? You know, obviously we know what paying your quarterback does to your roster. We know what big contracts can do. And the numbers show you, the statistics show you, the top 10 quarterbacks, as far as salary is concerned, they're not winning that much. That's the unfortunate reality. So when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, yeah, you got to pay him. But I think, and everyone always wants to say, oh, he should probably take a pay cut. I'm not suggesting he take a pay cut at all. I think he should get what he deserves. But I also expect him to be extremely calculated in what he's taking. I expect Howie Roseman to structure this contract in a way that's going to be helpful for everybody. But it's all about paying him early. Let's really go through the top 10 contracts when it comes to NFL quarterbacks going into the 2023 season. Average salaries, average salary rankings for quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is ranked number 1, $50 million, $50.2 million to be exact. Russell Wilson, $48.5 million. Remind you, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, they haven't won anything lately. They both have a Super Bowl, but that was prior to the contracts. Kyler Murray, $46.1 million. We know he hasn't proven anything. I mean, he's shown that he can play football, but he's not a proven winner. So you're paying this guy based off potential, ultimately. $46.1 million, but they had to pay him. Deshaun Watson, $46 million on average. Don't let it be forgotten. He has a fully guaranteed contract. That contract threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. And that's why Lamar Jackson's contract negotiations are stalling, because he feels he deserves a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun Watson. I'm not mad at his logic. Patrick Mahomes, $45 million. Think about this. Patrick Mahomes is the 5th highest paid quarterback in the NFL at $45 million. That $45 million is like a bargain now. Patrick Mahomes is grossly underpaid. If Patrick Mahomes decided to re-up his contract, if he decided to go in there and twist their arms about re-upping his contract, he might get $55, $60 million easily. Easily. Somebody would give it to him. But the way his contract is set up, he has a relationship with his GM, man, his ownership at Kansas City. He has a relationship. Therefore, he has no problem restructuring his contract so they can get guys in. And he said, remember, he signed a 10-year deal, so he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's going to get his money regardless. But Patrick Mahomes constructing his contract where it allows the team flexibility to move money around and defer money and allow them to bring in some talent, not some high price talent, but some relatively decent talent around him, because he's Patrick Mahomes and he's going to elevate those guys. Josh Allen, $43 million. Dak Prescott, $40 million, which is a bargain right now. If the Cowboys would have paid him sooner, they probably would have been paying him $35, $34 million, maybe $32 million at that time. They wasted it. They wasted a grand opportunity. And then you got Matthew Stafford at $40 million, Kirk Cousins at $35. So, and the reality is, there's only 2 Super Bowl rings in the top 10 of highest paid quarterbacks in the past 5 years. In the past 5 years, there's only 2 Super Bowl rings: Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford is a relatively cheap contract, all things considered. So overall, when you think about Jalen Hurts' contract negotiations, yeah, you want him to get what he's owed. Good morning, everyone. If you're just hopping in, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to like it on the content. This is Good Morning NFC East. I'm your man, Tone DeShields II, filling in for Jeff Kerr, who will be back on Monday. So, again, even though Jalen Hurts rightfully deserves what he deserves, my better mind tells me Jalen Hurts understands the dynamic of his situation, and he understands the dynamic of the quarterback market. He's going to restate everything. He's going to recalibrate everything. So when he gets paid, because Jeffrey Lurie and those guys made it very clear during draft week, money is not the problem. Money is of no object. The yearly salary is of no object. It's a matter of constructing it so it works for everybody involved. Because best believe, Howie Roseman won't put himself in a contract he can't get out of. We saw what he did with Carson Wentz. He's not going to put himself in any situation he can't get out of. Remind you, when they pay Carson Wentz, right now Carson Wentz is an average $32 million per year. That's a cheap as hell contract. Matt Ryan, $30 million a year. Ryan Tannehill, $29.5. And then it falls to Tom Brady at $15 million, but he's retired, obviously. So the top 13 contracts are $29.5 million and above. We know Jalen Hurts is going to command an average of $46 to $51 million. That's the $5 million span, in my opinion. I think Jalen Hurts is going to command between $46 to $51 million. Now, how does that affect everyone else? The Eagles have a lot of free agents coming up. That's the unfortunate reality. So when you put it in from that perspective, the Eagles have defensive linemen coming up: Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham. Well, you know what? I'm only going to focus on the key guys that I know for a fact that they may consider bringing back. I'm not going to even mention guys that I know won't be back here. We're going to focus on guys that potentially have a chance to come back and the impact of a Jalen Hurts contract. Again, I want Jalen Hurts to get everything he's owed. He's earned it. Super Bowl appearance, NFC Championship ring. Got to give credit where credit is due. Took his game to another level, led this team all year long, was an MVP candidate, second team All-Pro, Pro Bowler. We gotta acknowledge it. And I'm pretty sure this coming off season, his peers will rank him in the top 100. And in my humble opinion, he is a top 5 quarterback in this NFL. Flat out like that. I've thought about these rankings a little bit. I'm still relatively flushing it out, but I got Mahomes 1, Burrow 2, Hurts 3, Allen 4, and that number 5 spot is kind of interchangeable to me. I might do Herbert 5, either Herbert or Lawrence number 5. The reason I put Hurts over Allen is because he's done something he hasn't. Period. We could talk about the stats. We could talk about all that goofy stuff. But the reality is the results show Jalen Hurts so far is a more accomplished quarterback than Josh Allen. That's the reality. He's technically more accomplished. He's done more in a shorter amount of time. So, you guys do with that with what you will. Do with that with what you will. But again, how are the Eagles going to handle this offseason when you have Jalen Hurts' contract looming over your head? First and foremost, he has to be the first person you pick. Period. No one else is paramount except for Jalen Hurts' contract. The rumor is they're working on something currently. The rumor is the framework is being laid out. Again, it's not a matter of salary. I think the Eagles have no problem paying Jalen Hurts between 46 and 51 million. They have no problem doing that. The reason I'm giving you between 46 and between 51 is because, let's be honest about this. Patrick Mahomes is making 45, Deshaun Watson making 46. Again, Patrick Mahomes is underpaid, so he's an outlier. But Josh Allen, 43 million, right? Some will say he's underpaid, but I think he's right where he should be, all things considered. And remember, the Bills got in and paid him pretty early, so that's a pretty good contract right now for what they're getting from him. So, but Kyler Murray, I think that's a situation where they paid him, he got hurt, and now they're kind of scratching their head on their investment, and they're hoping it pans out. I don't know if it will. I don't know if Jonathan Gannon can pull the best out of Kyler Murray. Hopefully, whatever offensive staff he brings in, they can pull something out of Kyler. But I'm skeptical about him. I'm skeptical about that Russell Wilson contract and the Aaron Rodgers contract. Man, skeptical about that too. But again, I believe Jalen Hurts at this point in his career definitely is worth between 46 and 51 million because he's done something Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson have not done. Those guys are getting paid 46 million a year on average. I think that's the floor. I believe that's the floor. Obviously, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, they're legacy projects. So they've been here for a long time. People are kind of betting on just legacy at that point. So that's why they're getting paid what they're getting paid. But Russell Wilson, but Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, that's the floor. 46 million is the floor. I believe 51 million is the ceiling. I don't see the Eagles going above that. I just don't see it. Stephen Thomas says, Hurts, CJ, and Hargrave. Time to move on from Cox and BG. Bye, Miles. I'm glad you brought that up because I do believe Hurts and CJ Gardner-Johnson are top 2 priorities. If you want to expand it to top 3, I think Hurts, CJ, and Hargrave are top 3 in priorities. If I had to show you, if I had to tell you who's the least priority, again, I'm focusing on guys that actually have a sliver of a chance of being here. I'm not focused on mercenaries that we hired. I'm not focusing on Robert Quinn. I'm not focusing on Ndamukong Suh or Linval Joseph. Those were mercenaries that we hired to help during the Super Bowl run. This was a 1-year project. We exceeded expectations, made it to the big dance, lost by 3, came close but no cigar. So I doubt those guys will come back. Now, again, focusing on the guys like Stephen Thomas mentioned, Hurts, CJ, Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, BG, Miles Sanders, so on and so forth. Those are the main names. Those are the main names we're talking about as far as guys that potentially could resign. But if I had to rank the priority list, can't forget James Bradbury and Isaac Seumalo, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, guys like that. But if I had to rank the priority list, it would be Jalen Hurts first, CJ Gardner-Johnson second. Then after that, I'll probably put Javon Hargrave third. Then, believe it or not, Jason Kelce fourth. Because you want to figure out what Jason Kelce's plan is. At the end of the day, TJ Edwards is replaceable. Kaiser White is replaceable. We got to be honest. Kaiser White is replaceable. Miles Sanders is replaceable. TJ Edwards is replaceable. We're not focusing on the positions. Kyrie Roseman will not focus on positions that he's never cared about in the first place. Kyrie Roseman's never cared about investing big money in linebacker. He doesn't really have to. And then running back, same thing. Watching Isaiah Pacheco do what he did in the Super Bowl just adds more credence to why you shouldn't spend big money on a running back. Remember when the Dallas Cowboys paid Zeke all that money? If I was the Dallas Cowboys, I would have maximized Zeke for those 5-6 years that they had him, or 5 years because he had the 5th-year option. But I think he was trying to hold out or something like that. But if I was them, I would have maximized on those 4 years, 5 years. And if we didn't get nothing done as far as winning, I would have moved on. I would have Le'Veon Bell that dude. You're not going to listen. We're going to franchise tag you, and we're going to give you the type of money that's reasonable. You're not going to muscle us. The Steelers did it right, and guess what? Le'Veon Bell is where outside of the league. No one, he's not on any roster, if I'm not mistaken. So if the Dallas Cowboys did it all wrong with that Ezekiel Elliott contract. You paid him before your quarterback. That makes 0 sense. 0 cents. No matter how you feel about Dak Prescott, you paid your running back before your quarterback. That already is hustling backwards. So that's not how the Eagles play. That's not how they do business. Miles Sanders is an afterthought. Miles Sanders' contract has no relevance to Kyrie Roseman's plans right now. That's maybe the most least important contract he's thinking about, especially after watching how he performed in that Super Bowl. So, again, Jalen Hurts' contract is paramount. And what you want to do is, or what I think he wants to do, again, this is sports talk here. And I'm not a journalist. I don't have to be correct. But what I can do is I can hypothesize, right? I can make some assumptions. I can try to get into the player's head a little bit. And this is what I think Jalen Hurts is thinking. If I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm thinking about the distance traveled, what I've done, what I've accomplished. I'm also thinking about how I got here. who contributed to me getting here, who were key components to me getting here. I'm thinking about the way the league is structured now when it comes to quarterback contracts and how they take a stranglehold. I'm looking at Dallas. I'm looking at the Cardinals, right? I'm looking at those contracts and how they're impacting the team. I'm thinking about those players as well. Okay, I'm Jalen Hurts. I understand that I'm only as good as the sum of my parts. Yes, I'm talented. Yes, I've led a team to the Super Bowl. But I need to understand that this is a team sport. And if I want to flex and stunt my ultimate leadership, I need to make a leadership move, not a selfish move. Get what you owe, brother. Again, I'm not about shortchanging him. The Eagles are going to pay him exactly what he deserves, and he's going to take what he feels he deserves. But I fully expect Jalen Hurts to structure. Remember, you guys, we always see the average salary, but we don't really know all the stipulations in the contracts, right? That Patrick Mahomes contract, 10 years, $500 million. It looks sexy, right? It looks sexy, and it is sexy, by the way. $500 million. I ain't mad about that. But when you hear about those big numbers in the media, that's for the agents. That's the agents flexing, saying, this is what I got from my guy, right? But we never know the details of the contracts. You know, we never know the fine print. We never know the off-ramps that GMs and ownerships implant in those contracts to provide flexibility. There are some quarterbacks who want to stranglehold the team, man. They don't want to put any off-ramps. They don't want to put any structures in the contract that can help the team if they need to restructure to bring in somebody else to help you guys win. They don't. Some quarterbacks don't care about that. But Jalen Hurts struck me as a guy who's going to get his money, but also have some things in place where it allows the team to be flexible. We know Howie Roseman is the king of deferring money. He's the king of restructuring contracts to provide flexibility. But the bottom line is, when you pay him, it is going to limit the type of talent you can target. So this upcoming draft is going to be even more important. It's going to be even more important for Howie Roseman and his scouts to evaluate talent properly. We all know Howie Roseman isn't the most talented talent evaluator. You see what I did there? He's not the most talented talent evaluator. So like he did these past couple drafts, he needs to lean on his scouting department. He needs to lean on them. Period. So how does the team look going forward? I don't see Kaiser White coming back. I have a hard time even seeing if TJ Edwards comes back, but they're going to need to have at least one veteran in that linebacker room. So maybe TJ does come back. And also another thing as well, what needs to be understood. TJ Edwards, he will be a free agent. The franchise tag for a linebacker right now is $20.95 million. TJ Edwards is not that's market value, by the way. TJ Edwards is not commanding market value at all. But also, TJ Edwards looks at it like this. This is going to be my only chance to probably maximize this season I've had. This is going to be my only chance to get as much money as I possibly can. So you might not see TJ Edwards come back. He might follow the money. He might follow the bag. Kaiser White, same thing. The best thing those guys have gone for them in their future contract negotiations this offseason is they were key contributors to a Super Bowl appearing roster. They're going to try to leverage that. Same thing with James Bradbury, second team All-Pro. They're going to try to leverage their success this season to get more money. So there's a slim chance James Bradbury comes back. He already told you guys he's not coming back for the cheap. There's a slim chance TJ Edwards comes back. Slim chance. Slim chance Kaiser White comes back. They want to maximize. They want to get as much money as they can. They can't play this game forever, and they can't sit around taking pennies on a dollar when they know they can get a little bit more than that. That's the reality. So it's going to be important for the Eagles to have a stellar draft. It's going to be important for Howie Roseman to really work the free agency market and bring in some low leverage, high value talent. Low risk, high reward type of talent. That's how Kaiser White was. the real RMP says leave Bradbury in the desert. That's funny. Stephen Thomas says CJ's going to price himself out of Philly. I understand your logic on that, man, because he's definitely going to try to get what he's owed too. But again, I see CJ. I see C.J. Gardner-Johnson as being a priority for the Philadelphia Eagles. I personally think he's a top 3 priority. It's Jalen Hurts, C.J., and I think Javon Hargrave is in there as well. I think he's in there as well. You guys brought up Darius Slay's contract as well. Davey Boy, thank you. I think you're right. Slay's contract has to get restructured. I do not feel comfortable in any way, paying Darius Slay $17 million going into 2017. I don't feel comfortable with it in any way. And I'll put it to you like this. I don't see him being here beyond this upcoming season. And if he does, he's going to have to take less money. Excuse me. Darius Slay is what, 32 years old? He'll be 33. And we're already starting to see the miles take effect on his body, in my humble opinion. I don't know if it was the scheme that didn't really allow him to lean on his instincts that well, because he is a press corner. He's a man-to-man corner. That's why Darius Slay has the respect of his peers. And James Bradbury, he's a zone corner. That's why some of his peers don't really respect him. But my thing is, there's more than one way to put a cornerback position. But you also have to put yourself in the right. You have to put yourself in the right price market for what you do. James Bradbury is a zone corner. I'm not paying Jalen Ramsey money to a zone corner. I'm not paying what Sauce Gardner would command to a zone corner. Sauce Gardner, listen, he's entering his second year of his rookie deal. But right now, the average salary for a corner is $18.16 million, $18.1 million basically. And right now, the top flight corners are getting $21 million, $20 million, $20 million, $19.5 million, 18 million. You feel what I'm saying? The highest paid corner is Jair Alexander with 21, then Denzel Ward with 20.1, Jalen Ramsey with 20 million. So the top 3 corners that are getting paid are in the 20 million range. Sauce Gardner will command 20. When his contract is due, Sauce Gardner might get 25 million. He might get 20. He might get between 23 to 26 million. Sauce Gardner when his contract comes up. That's if he stays healthy. So you guys understand how this market just shifts on you. That's why it's so important to pay your quarterback when you have the opportunity to pay him, even if there's quarterbacks that are better that are playing right now. But that's where you can't get caught up when you're trying to pay a quarterback. You can't worry about everyone else in terms of how good they are. You have to look at what you have. You have to look at what he's been able to provide you as far as production and as far as results. And how does that quarterback fit into what we want to do? What is that quarterback's impact on my organization? What is that quarterback's impact on my city, on my roster, for my overall goals, for my long-term plan? What's that quarterback's impact on everything that I mentioned there? You can't get caught up on, well, I mean, he's not a top 3 quarterback, so I don't feel comfortable paying him top 3 money. What a guy's getting paid is not conducive to how good he is. That's the way the NFL works. Just because you're this good, that don't mean you're getting paid this amount. Like we all said, Patrick Mahomes is grossly underpaid. But because he signed his contract when he signed it, his contract is a bargain in the grand scheme of things. He signed a 10-year deal. And I'm pretty sure there are stipulations in his contract where as the market increases, his contract gradually increases. He's not an idiot. Like, let's really think about this. Let's look at let's really look at the details of Patrick Mahomes' contract, because his contract is the most fascinating to me. So, all right. Wow, they're good. They are good. They're good. Oh my goodness. So, y'all won't believe this. Y'all want to know what Patrick Mahomes' base salary is? His base salary going into the 2023 season is $5.5 million. $5.5 million. Wow. And guess what? Y'all want to know what Kyler Murray's base salary is? Well, his new contract didn't kick in yet. But when it does, when his new contract does kick in, y'all want to know what Kyler Murray's base salary is in 2024? $37 million. $37 million. And then the base salary de-escalates. But think about that. Let me tell you this. Patrick Mahomes' base salary for the next 4 seasons. 2023, $5.5 million. 2024, $2.5 million. 2025, $2.5 million. 2026, $2.5 million. But his roster bonus for 2023, $34.4 million. 2024, $34.9 million. 2025, $38.9 million. 2026, $38.9 million. What they did was they restructured it in a way so it doesn't impact the cap. It gives them flexibility. It gives them flexibility the way they structured that contract. And look, he's going to get his money regardless. Regardless, he's going to get his money. You feel what I'm saying? He's going to get his money regardless. So, Jalen Hurts, what kind of contract will he take? I don't see the Eagles offering him a 10-year contract at all. But I think Jalen Hurts' contract is going to be a 5-year deal. Let's do some math here. Let's do some math here. I used to be a math wizard. I fell off. I used to be a math wizard, but I fell off. Oh, man. Okay. Let's get this calculator out of here. Where are you? There we go. Calculator. All right. So I honestly anticipate Jalen Hurts getting – I think Jalen Hurts is going to get somewhere around $48 million. Maybe 50. Let's say Jalen Hurts gets $50 million, right? 50 times 5, that's $250. It's all about the guaranteed dollars too. So, but let's just say he gets 48. 48 times 5, that's $240. So he honestly might get between 48 to 51 million, honestly. And that's not a bad place to be. And there's always going to be things in that contract that he can work out and flex and so on and so forth and restructure. And Stephen Thomas, you bring up a good point. He can take that because of all his endorsements and that compensates for the lesser money he makes on the field. But no, he's getting his money. Here's my thing, Steve. He's getting his money. My point, he's getting his money. It's the way it looks on the books. He's not getting his money. So I understand what you mean by the endorsements and all that kind of stuff. Well, are you talking about Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes? I'm not sure. But my point is about Patrick Mahomes is his base salary is what it is. And it helps the cap space. It helps the books at the end of the day. But look, let's take a quick break, you guys. We've been going for a while. Let's take a break, and we're going to discuss this a little further. Also, I want to discuss Miles Sanders' contract, even though I have a strong feeling he's not getting one. But I kind of want to discuss Miles Sanders' market and see what he probably could get depending on where he goes. But we'll find out. You guys are locked in on Good Morning NFC East. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. Don't move.